And so I don't have the answer to, for example, yours, other than we're going to sit down with the parents and try to reach some kind of a compromise, something that's going to work for them, something that we're going to feel comfortable about too. The answer may be at some point, you know, ma'am, maybe you need to look at homeschooling your kid because we got them out of school, out of class more than we have them in class. And ultimately that may be the answer. Okay? Other questions? Yes? Number 23. Yeah. I was hoping this would get your attention and would grab somebody. Yeah, this is kind of provocative, isn't it? Sure is. Everything, are you telling me that everything you post, a school could take disciplinary action under those circumstances? The answer is yes. The answer is you are always a teacher. You are never not a teacher. And so if you post something out there in cyberspace, or you do something, let's say you decide you're going to go to Las Vegas for the weekend, and you do something out in Las Vegas that would infringe upon your ability to do your job or interfere with the relationships within that building, they can take action, and they do. What did I say? Oh, yeah, no, that's true. Everything. Number 23?
But it says it's protected.
What's that?
It says it's protected.
Yeah, the way it's worded, it sounds like it's...
Post Oh, I see. Oh, so you're going to get technical on me here, are you? Yeah. All right. All right. That's what we're going to play the game. We'll play it that way. Sure. Very good. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah. So you were thinking that in fact you were responsible for all of these things, and that's the reason you answered it the way you did.
Well, I mean, is it true or false?
What I'm saying is that anything you put out there, okay, I am saying that is everything protected? Is everything protected? Anything you put out there can cost you your job.
So it's false.
That's right. That's my point. Yeah.
I thought it was false.
Right. And I said it was true. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. Yeah. Yeah, and there are teachers that get canned all the time for this. I mean, it's just, gosh, you can't open up the legal updates anytime without seeing, oh my gosh, here's another one where a teacher has, posted something on their Facebook page that you're thinking like, why? Or, what were you thinking about? And as long as it's going to interfere with their ability to do their job, then the schools can take action against it. Yes?
Would that apply to things not necessarily on social networks, even on the internet, or not, at a rally or something, but or anything, you have a political discussion with someone and what happens?
Okay. Now, that's an important point. Legally, the answer is not. Constitutionally, no. You have freedom of association. So if the school board president finds out that you're handing out literature for the Green Party and says, well, we don't want any of those folks, or they find out, that you're going down to the Presbyterian church, and for goodness sakes, we don't want any Presbyterians, all right? And they said they're going to get rid of you for that. That would be constitutionally impermissible, okay? That would be constitutionally impermissible. Now, the key is proving it. And that's why what I would say is that as a non-tenured teacher, I would fly low under the radar. Would it be illegal for them to can you for passing out Republican literature? Yes. But being able to prove that would be much more difficult. I would wait before I became super active in any organization until after I had tenure would be the point that I would make. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's not right. You're right. Yeah. It isn't right. But
same vein, if a teacher is pulled over for drinking while driving, is that going to cost them their job?
It's going to depend on where they live, okay, and the values of that town. Now, what the school is going to have to prove is that somehow this is going to impede upon their ability to do their job. And in some communities, maybe, yes, this is going to be very, typically, you know, I've had situations like that with teachers who we did not fire. And in most communities today, I mean, if somebody was just a little bit, but of course, let me back up. That is, if you're a tenured teacher. If you're a non-tenured teacher, guess what? I don't have to say anything. You're just not going to be renewed. So, if you're a tenured teacher, now you've got protection. So, but even for non-tenured teachers in some communities, they would want to look at the circumstances, and we'd also consider what kind of a teacher are you? You know, have you been cooperative? What kind of future do you have? And because people make mistakes, and but in other communities, I'm not even going to ask any questions about it. Yeah. Other thoughts? Yeah, Kieran.
One of my students from special ed, she was saying that if there is an explosive child in your classroom, I mean, who is acting out, and there is reason to believe that that child may cause harm to other kids, it's not legal for you to hold the child unless you're trained for it. Is that? I wasn't sure about that.
Now, it would be the nature of the classroom that you're in. If this is something that's in this kid's IEP that says that, you know, we're going to use techniques, we're going to use takedown techniques or physical restraint techniques, then you would need to be trained in order to do that. Now, if this was just a normal classroom, nobody has an IEP, there's nothing in the IEP that says this kid needs physical restraint, then yes, then you could take action to keep him from hurting himself or others. Yeah. Yes.
A couple things. One, for everyone, what is the current time frame for lieutenant tenure?
It is upon your it's upon your fifth contract. There's several ways to say it. Basically, here's one way I say it. If you don't get a notice of non-renewal 45 days before the end of your fourth year, consecutive year in the same district, you're in. You've got tenure. Okay? Another way of saying it is upon your fifth contract, you get tenure. But the law says this, is that if a school is going to non-renew someone, as we mentioned, first 3 years they don't have to give a reason, but they've got to give you notice 45 days before the end of that school year, in writing, certified mail, that you're not being renewed. Then that fourth year, they have to give you notice 45 days before the end of that school year that you're not being renewed, but they've got to provide you with notice. So you count back from 45 days to the end of the school year, you know you're back for another year, okay, per statute. Now, some people say, well, I didn't get a contract. They didn't give me another contract. You don't need a contract. Your contract is in the school code. The school code is what says what your rights are, and also your collective bargaining agreement. Sometimes we'll outline some of those things as well. But it's right there in the school code. If you don't get notice that you're not being brought back 45 days before the end of the school year, you've got another year under your belt. There have been court cases where, oh, well, they got the notice to the person at 43 days or 44 days. Courts say, no, we're going to strictly construe that statute. It's got to be 45 days. Okay?
Would you strongly suggest then teachers, you mentioned not getting involved in active, not to join a union, like the teachers?
No, well, boy, you know, I would say yes, join the union. And I mean, if you're in any kind of district that's worth its salt, you probably don't even want to be there. If they're going to fire you because you joined the union, unless you're really desperate for a job, it's probably not the kind of place you even want to hang out. But, you know, in most places, people recognize the value of having an association because that contract works both ways. Administratively, having been on both sides of the fence, I can tell you, sometimes we're glad that we've got that contract there. So, But what I would say is that if you had a strike situation, you certainly would not want to walk out, be a part of that. You'd want to be coming in and you'd want to cross the picket line, and your association would encourage you to do that in most cases.